I'm currently standing in one of the highest tree houses on the entire planet. It's a long way up. It's about 25 meters up off the ground. That's around 8 stories up. And it's on or in this cottonwood tree, which is about a century old. Before I show you what it looks like now that it's done, I want to explain why it's here. We built this treehouse on Coast Salish territory in Metro Vancouver because this tree is scheduled to be cut down in order to make way for a proposed oil pipeline, the Trans Mountain Expansion Pipeline. If the pipeline is completed, it would put ecosystems and communities at risk from oil spills. It would horribly exacerbate climate change, and it's not even projected to make any money. That's why we've been protesting here since the summer, occupying these trees so that they can't be cut down. I did a whole series of videos on that if you want to check that out. Okay, so a lot has happened in the 2 days right before I was planning to release this video. And basically, the police and the construction workers showed up to camp after months of them being absent. They showed up to remove us and to do the work. So it's not over yet, but I'll leave an update about all of this at the end of the video. I filmed most of this video during the construction process, but here's what it looks like now that it's done. We've got beautiful windows, a Murphy bed, a little trap door, a little reading nook, and of course, a compost toilet. Thinking and learning about climate change can feel crushing. It can feel like there's nothing we can do, and that's depressing. So as a sort of antidote to that, I have started a podcast, and the tone of the podcast is hopeful, and I've named it after this treehouse. It's called the Cottonwood Treehouse. The first episode is out now, and it's all about why we built this treehouse and all of the other actions that people are taking to stop this pipeline, the Trans Mountain Pipeline, from being completed. There's links in the description, but you can find it on Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcast. I hope you'll go check it out and subscribe. The podcast is not just about this treehouse. It's about all of the things that people around the world are already doing, all of the courageous people and their wonderful stories of climate action. I have named it after this treehouse because I think that this treehouse is a powerful symbol of hope and of action, and it's sort of playful. It doesn't have this doom and gloom feeling, and that's sort of what we're going for on this podcast, so I hope you'll give it a listen. To get up here in the first place, Timothy used a massive slingshot to get a string over one of the branches. We used that to pull up a climbing rope. Climbing this rope requires a harness and specialized equipment, and of course a lot of sweat. There's just nothing to grab onto except for the rope, and even though I've been up there a number of times now, it is always terrifying because it's a long fall. It's not a survivable fall, I think. Let's not think about that. Let's just keep climbing.
So we started building this treehouse like 2 months ago. I told Tim Takaro, hey, why don't we have a treehouse up here? And he was like, yeah, maybe, why not? And I said, I can build this in 24 hours. Like, I said I could build a platform, and it took literally a month to build what I thought would take 24 hours. But when I saw it was taking more time, I was like, no, we got to do this. This is important, and I love doing treehouses. So I was like, no. I told him I was going to build a platform, and it's going to take more than 24 hours, but we're going to finish it.
One of the reasons that this treehouse has taken so long to build is that it's so high up that everything needs to be brought up by a pulley and strapped down so that it doesn't fall all the way to the ground. Also, there's no outlets up here for power tools, and a lot of the wood and all the windows were salvaged, and we've built it without cutting any of the tree's branches or nailing or drilling anything into the tree. So everything needs to be lashed on, and all of that care, that level of care, just takes time. Also, Timothy has insisted on having a lot of windows, which look amazing, but Well, they haven't made this a faster process, but still, we love him for his enthusiasm and his dedication. The view from this treehouse is incredible, and being up here is made even more special with the knowledge that a group of courageous people built this for such a just cause. So we've been up in that treehouse for most of the last 2 months, almost every day. And yesterday, we were there till midnight, and we were going to be back at 10 a.m. And at that point, we were going to occupy it full time from then on. We had just finished bringing all of the rest of the food and camping supplies up there, and everything was ready, and we had climbers set. And at 4 a.m, the RCMP, the police, and the construction workers showed up to camp, and no one was there. And so we didn't have a climber in the tree. They showed up a day before we thought that they were able to go in there. So that was a big surprise to us. Yeah. They spent today putting barbed wire fences up around the cottonwood tree that the treehouse is in. And they spent yesterday clearing out the camp and removing the portaledge. So I'm disappointed, obviously, that we're not in the treehouse now. That's a huge disappointment. But I'm also happy that it's there. It's still going to be very hard for them to remove it. An arborist came yesterday to camp and tried to climb up the tree to the house, and he only made it about a quarter of the way before he decided to come back down, and he didn't come back today. So I'm hopeful that it will take them a while to figure out how to get up there and to figure out how to take apart that building that's huge and full of glass and only lashed onto the tree, and it's going to be very hard to do safely. So they're going to have to take their time, and every day that we delay them is a success for us, because every day we delay this pipeline, that is good for the climate. And every day we delay the pipeline, it becomes more and more likely that they won't finish it. I'm also hopeful because we've been blocking those trees for 4.5 months, and that is a massive delay. And even if it stops tomorrow, we'll have been successful for 4.5 months. That's 4.5 months that pipeline was not completed, that it was not built. And that's amazing. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of everyone for that. Just last week, the National Energy Board of Canada announced, they put out a report saying that this pipeline wouldn't make any sense unless we didn't take climate change any more seriously, and they know that we need to do that. So that's awesome. It's changing. The tide is turning, and I feel hopeful in that. While it would break my heart to watch this treehouse come down, I know that part of the reason that I helped build it is because I think it's a beautiful and inspiring symbol. And I think that people want to see it. And if we can get eyes on the treehouse, if we can get people to watch this video, then they'll be thinking about it. And they'll be thinking about that pipeline. And they'll be thinking about climate change. And that's part of it. That's a big part of the reason why I'm doing this work. So I hope you'll help me in that by sharing this video and by sharing the podcast. I'm not making any money from this or the podcast, so I'm just doing it because I know that it matters and we need to get the word out. This fight also isn't over, not at the Treehouse camp and not for the entire pipeline. And if you're in British Columbia, there's links in the description for where you can go to get involved. And if you're not here, again, please help by sharing this video. It would mean a lot. As always, thanks for watching.